Testing.
1, 2, 3.
Testing.
1, 2, 3.
Test.
1, 2, 3. I know my part and I'm sticking to it.
Guys, you have to respond because they can't talk to me.
Yes, Taryn.
I'm a motherfucking aunt, y'all.
Yes, she is.
I know you all have been dying to know.
They knew.
Yeah, literally that night, little Axel was brought into the world.
Yeah.
And I now, I get it.
Do you?
Because I feel like, people would talk about being an aunt is the best thing ever, or the bond you have with a kiddo that's in your family.
Yeah.
And I can't, it's unlike anything I've ever felt.
I can't. I'm so pumped for you. And I can't wait to experience that. If Alicia would just get on it, that's, I can't wait.
I mean, she could say that about us
I
too.
mean, she really could. She could really turn the table on me really fast.
We're all just going to get on it. And that sounds weird, but
but also makes sense.
Yeah, Well, we're going to freaking get into this episode, Ash.
Yeah. Taryn and I basically just kind of gave up on the closet situation. It was good. It did its thing. It was important. It helped us through this transition period. But we basically just threw our hands up and we're like, you know what? We're just going to do it from the comforts of my own bedroom.
Because this is a topic.
Yeah.
And we're ready to attack. So yeah, we got coffee.
Yeah.
We're comfy.
You guys should see what I did to quote unquote soundproof my bedroom. I took all the comforters that I own and I just laid them on the hardwood floor.
Yeah.
And then Alicia and I also recently decorated TK's bedroom officially. We bought some stuff to make it,
by the way.
Thank you, to make it a little more homey for her since, for the foreseeable future might be the rest of summer. So we were okay, let's get her a bed frame. Let's get her off the floor. So we had a bunch of extra boxes and I just ended up dragging them into my room because I was like, you know what? This absorbs sound and we could use all the help we could get.
Yeah, I walked in and I was like, what happened in here? And then she's like, yeah, boxes for sound. I was like, oh, great. Watch me send this episode in and Mark is
he's like, this sounds the worst thing I've ever heard. Mark disapproves. That would just shatter my heart.
I'm comfortable though.
I live for Mark's approval.
Yeah, me too. Okay, so if you're what is this episode about? Why are you guys getting so ready to do it? Last week, we basically tied our hands.
We really did. Yeah.
Because to be honest, when I came, because I've been staying down with my brother and sister-in-law because
doing
just
the auntie thing,
helping with the babe, all this stuff. So I drove down today and I was like, oh, you ready to record? And usually we really don't put that much time into prepping because I think we both have come to love the fact that it's not rehearsed, just genuine.
I love how raw it is.
Yeah, it's so raw. Raw is a good word. So I was like, oh, are you ready? And we're talking about yeah. I just got to pull a story real quick, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden I was like, Ash, we have to do our body positivity one. We said it on last episode.
We committed to it.
There's no going back. We can't be like, hey Mark, can you edit that out? It's out. It's out in the air, in the internet.
Whatever. People have heard.
So anyways,
the people being you guys,
just
to clarify,
all of you. We were okay, we jumped online real fast and posted some stuff to our socials to be what do you guys what are your thoughts? What are your questions? Whatever. And we just wanted this to be just a time where we attack the topic of body positivity.
The one thing that we all struggle with.
Literally all.
It's the most relatable topic.
Yes.
It doesn't matter what age you're at. It doesn't matter what gender you are. It doesn't matter where you live.
Yep.
This is something that we all struggle with from time to time. We have highs, we have lows with it, and it's just part of life. And the one time we've talked about this topic a few times over, a little over a year that we've been doing this.
Oh, totally.
And each time you guys have responded very strongly, wanting to talk about it more. And every time we bring the topic back around, if you guys wrote an email or something like that, then you guys respond stronger than anything else.
Yeah.
And me and Taryn genuinely could not help but take notice of that.
Yeah. And I think it's cool because I think that we come at it with two totally different perspectives. Like we both have different body types. We have different backstories. We have different places where we are now currently. And so I think it's just going to be really cool. We're both going to get super raw and like real about our struggles, as well as kind of go into what you guys have sent in. But really there's no agenda. Like we're just going to talk about it. And I think that because like as society in general, people are talking more about everything, right? Like whether it's, you know, social injustice, which we can kind of hit on because we're currently going through like just a huge mess of a situation. But also like even women who I think before we would have always been like, oh, they have the perfect body. They have everything. They love their bodies. They're so confident, are coming out with how comments have affected them. Who is the, she's a swimsuit model and she is curvier. I think God, she is freaking gorgeous, but she posted a photo and she kind of like put on her profile like a series of stories going into like just the nasty comments she got, and like she was like crying, like it deeply affected her. And I remember sitting there and being like, they're literally like, no one is safe. But we idealize these body types and these people and say like, oh my God, if I had her body, everything, like I'd get a guy, I'd be happy, I'd be this, I'd be that. And the truth is like, it's so much deeper than just your physical appearance.
There's so much more that goes into it because I can't remember the name of this girl. If I figure it out, I'll say it.
Sports Illustrated, I know. I'll text TK.
There was a there was like a poll going around. Not a poll. What's the word? There was like a prize, like a contest. Okay. There we go. There was a contest going on and she won and she got picked for this like magazine.
It was Sports Illustrated, right?
Illustrated cover or like a spread within it. And she's beautiful, guys. She's stunning. And she had hips. And I thought they were the sexiest things about her body. Like gorgeous. I couldn't help but to, like be like, wow, she's gorgeous.
It's Camille Caustic,
I believe. And one of the best things about social media is also one of like the worst things about it. The best thing is like we found it and me and Taryn both, including the other people that live here in this house too, could not help but like fully relate to how hurt she was by some of the comments she was getting.
Well, she has a, so it's on her, what are those called?
Stories?
Highlights. Highlight. She has a highlight that's called You Are Enough. And literally we all just, cause TK had told us about it and we all just sat in a circle and watched it together and then just had this conversation after because we were so just impacted by the fact that like people are the actual worst and how like people are so quick to just feel like they have a right to comment on your body. And it just is like mind blowing, but
that's the con about social media. It's really amazing that she's out there and she's this amazing role model for women all over the world. And it's cool that we get to follow her on a daily basis and like be inspired by her every single day. The problem for her is because she's putting herself out there for other people to be inspired by, people are also responding with hate because they feel the need to, or they feel something like within them just wants to lash out. And because she is so available online, you feel comfortable enough to call her a whore or call her, you know, like all these horrible names. And of course that's going to affect her, but that's the disassociation that comes with social media.
Yeah. Which is so funny because everyone, all the trolls out there, they want to feel like they are heard and connected to this person. But then what they do is they like say these ugly things that makes that person want to like not even have anything to do with them. So it's just like, what are you trying to do? But it's that whole like hurt people, you know? Exactly. So it just shows, just like the ugliness that's still out there. And I don't want to like, we don't have to talk about it too much, but, obviously, I mean, unless you live under a rock because it's everywhere right now. Yeah. Just everything going on right now with George Floyd and just, I think, Will Smith's quote, I think he reposted it too, where he was like, you know, racism isn't getting worse, it's getting filmed. And I think that's so true right now with social media, with the fact that people are now grasping on to like there still is so much injustice that's like out there. You know, things like this catch fire when it happens. And, you know, I made myself watch because I think, when we try to pretend like something's not happening or we ignore something because it's hard, that definitely is like giving into what the problem is. Like, we all need to realize that it's there and not be scared of it, but try to figure out and educate ourselves on how we can make a difference. And like, you know, how do we set up our younger generation to not keep repeating this like horribleness, you know?
Yeah.
But I had a really hard time. Like, I was crying. I was sick to my stomach for a long time. And it's just so sad because there's so much, like, I don't know what else to say besides ugliness, like out in the world that just,
it's evil.
I don't,
That's what it is.
And I don't get how some people miss the just like simplest act of just loving someone else and giving them the honor and respect that like everyone deserves. That
every human deserves. Yes.
So it's just been, I think a lot of people are trying to figure out, you know, how to process it, how to, it feels like such a big thing that you're like, how do I even make a difference? Like what can I even do? So definitely, I think educating yourselves, looking, a lot of people who have big platforms are using it to, you know, kind of direct people to different, you know, things they can sign, different charities to donate to, different people that just kind of keep you up to date with like, okay, well, this, like, educate yourselves. Like, you know, it's going on. Like, we can't be afraid of it anymore. Like, we're past that. Like, we need to acknowledge and do as much as we can. So, but I just felt like we should address it because it's so present. And I know it's deeply affected me the past, you know, few days or since it happened.
I think it really struck home with, I mean, I think the entire country is kind of like in shock right now. What's amazing and another plus about social media is how quick people started like banding together to make sure that justice was, you know, and is, you know, followed through. But yeah, I think one of the coolest things was I can't even begin to tell you how many things I read that had me second guess like everything. Yeah. Absolutely everything. And one of the biggest things, and I like to think that I'm like so liberal and I'm a free thinker and I'm open to all concepts, but I definitely had to sit there and like read everything and come to the realization like, no, like I am privileged. There's a lot of things I don't have to think about. And I had to like remind myself that even though I know it, you know, and then, and like one of the biggest things that I personally think I have done and is a problem is being quiet. Yeah. I am so by nature, not a political person. I don't like to talk about complicated things. I don't want to talk about things that are uncomfortable in all aspects of my life, not just racism, but like politics, relationships. I have a hard time telling Taryn when I'm in a bad mood. Like that's me as a person. But it's like reading this stuff. It's like, no, Ashley, repost it. I might get a lot of hate or some like very strongly minded people coming at me, but it doesn't matter. Like if this is what you believe, then post it. And it's like, I like had a realization and a recalling myself out and I was like, okay, this is what we're going to do. So I think that's one of the, even though we're talking about a lot of the negative stuff on this episode, that's one of the pluses about social media right now.
No, totally. And you know, I think it is scary nowadays because everybody is at the ready to be offended or to just destroy you if you say the wrong thing. So it makes it very scary to say anything. And I always try to live my life in a way that I don't want to ever hurt or offend someone. And so I am very careful about what I say. And I think a lot before I would say something, or I kind of avoid conversations with people who I'm like, you don't want to have a conversation. You just want to attack me because I don't believe the same thing. But I think when situations like this come up, it's like belief or what you think doesn't matter. Just the bottom line, decency and how we treat others, like, is that question here? And, you know, there's so much history that comes with it. And I do think, you know, it is a topic that it gets uncomfortable. So people run away from it. And I think that's one of the things that, you know, people have been really like focusing on is like, you can't run away. Like, let's face it, let's address it. And, let's like try to help the world be a better place, like any way we can, you know? So anyways, I definitely feel for just everyone. I mean, we're all processing things in different ways, and for his family, and you know, hopefully people will start to do the right thing and justice will happen, and you know, we can leave this situation bettering ourselves. That's always like, you know, the prayer, the hope. But anyways, wanted to just address that a little bit, and then I think we can get into our episode.
All of your guys' questions came flooding in so quick. And
honestly, I feel like we're going to have to like just scroll point, because there's so much stuff, which we always know when a topic is close to heart by like, we'll go in like 5 minutes later and be like, oh, let's see if anyone's responded. And we're like, holy crap. Like, how are we supposed to even read all of these?
You guys are the realest. And,
you really are.
We appreciate you so much. So that being said, we are going to go ahead and dive into all of your questions and, do you want
to share personal stuff yet? Or do you want to just like, as we go,
I love that.
Things?
Yeah.
So like, you have hair, right, Ash?
I do have hair. As do you, Taryn.
I do, Ash. And you know how like, I don't know if you're like this, but when I go to buy shampoo and conditioner, I've never been one that like I always buy the same one, because I've never really found one that like works for me. And usually I stand in the aisle and I scroll through like every single one, and I'm like, okay, well, I do want that. Like, I want my hair to be like thicker, but like, I also need color protectant, but like that bottle looks really cool.
I have split ends.
Yes. And there's so many things that attribute to what I finally get, and it never fails. Like halfway through, I'm like, I want a different one.
Yeah. I genuinely think I've gone through every brand on the planet just because I'm trying to find the perfect one.
I know. So today, guys, we're functioning.
Leave that in.
Lol. We are partnering with Function of Beauty. And, you know, I always am like, okay, sure, like I'll try it. But this was honestly, I was so pumped with like the process of taking a survey.
The process is so fun.
The process of choosing like what color I wanted my shampoo and conditioner, what I wanted it to smell like.
We love aesthetics.
We love aesthetics. So when I got my bottles and then it freaking said my name on it, I was like, I'm done. I'm done. That's it. I'm done.
That's all I needed too. Growing up with a sister, we steal everything from each other. So it's really easy to be like, this is my shampoo. Do not take it. You guys, Function of Beauty is the internet's top rated customized hair care brand with over 30,000 5-star customer reviews and counting. 30,000 is a lot, people.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. Curly or straight, natural or processed, Function of Beauty individually formulates each bottle based on your unique hair type, style preferences, and hair goals. Guys, the quiz is so much fun. You basically get to go through, pick the color, like Taryn said, pick the scent, pick your like top hair goals that you want for your hair to get out of this shampoo and conditioner, and they create a customized shampoo and conditioner for your specific hair. And one of the positive sides is Function of Beauty is vegan and cruelty free. They never use sulfates, parabens, phthalates.
Sure.
I said this last time.
Sure.
I'm pretty sure I read this wrong last time. Phthalates. Mineral oils, or any other harmful ingredients.
So to get started right now, go to functionofbeauty.com/advice to take your 4-part hair profile quiz and save 20% on your first order.
Don't spend another minute in hair misery. Go to functionofbeauty.com/advice, ADVICE, to let them know that we sent you. That's functionofbeauty.com/advice. Okay. So I think for me personally, it's so interesting. The more girls that I talk to, it feels like we all kind of started out in a similar place. Like our platforms where we launched off from were all pretty similar. Like you go from never thinking about stuff like this to all of the sudden, it's all you think about.
Yep.
And it's every age is different. When you hit it, it's different. But like you go from this unknowingness to all of a sudden
this innocent bliss.
Yeah, it's this core value of who you are. And you, it really is true. The fact that girls dress for other girls.
Oh my gosh, it's so true.
I couldn't help but like middle school, high school, like all I cared about was what I looked like, what I wore.
Yeah.
And it wasn't for the guys like everyone thinks it is. It was for like, I was trying to keep up with the other girls, you know? So just like everyone else, I think somewhere along the way, I got misconstrued, blame it on TV, blame it on, the unrealistic Disney princesses. Yeah. You could blame it on whatever, but my body obviously became like the center of attention for everything. I remember being in middle school and starting, like, my mom had a Slim Fast mix that she always kept like in the cabinet. And I remember drinking that instead of having cereal.
Yeah.
At the age of like 13, 14.
Yeah.
And I remember hiding it from her because I knew she would disapprove.
Yeah.
Because my subconscious knew I shouldn't be worrying about this. But I remember having hiding my breakfast specifically, and doing a shake instead. And I remember in high school doing the same thing with like NutriFast and like all these little, just quickly swapping it out before anyone was noticing, saying I wasn't that hungry when I was starving.
Yeah. Oh, gosh.
And I can't really tell you why, except for the fact that I was just very unhappy with how I looked. And I think one of the biggest things for us to remember is like every single girl or guy is going through this to a degree, especially at that age.
Yeah.
And I remember just feeling very alone in it.
Yep.
And it's so crazy to think how lonely I was when my little sister was probably dealing with the same thing, but I didn't talk to her about it. And my best friends at the time were 100% dealing with the same things, but I didn't talk to them about it. And I feel like if I had like the confidence or courage to say something to my best friend at the time, we could have had a really great talk about it and helped each other through it. But totally. I chose to shoulder this and deal with it on my own. And the older I get, the more I realize if I don't get my thoughts out, they become all consuming.
Oh, they become like a monster.
Yeah. Whether it's journaling or talking to someone, it becomes this huge cage. And all I can think about 24/7 is that I'm hungry. And so I'm thinking about food, and then I'm thinking about how quote unquote fat I am. But that's the negative thoughts in my head. Yeah. So it became this delicate balance of I'm really hungry, but I don't want to eat, which led to splurging and binging, which led to a very unhealthy habit and relationship with food. And it's so weird how just that tiny decision to not tell anyone about it, I think turned my head and forced me into this path of binging on food.
Yeah, well, it became shameful. It became something you're like hiding, and anything you feel like you have to hide, automatically there's like embarrassment, there's shame, there's secretiveness, there's a fear and anxiety of that thing being brought to light. You know?
It's so funny how one of the things that was so like shameful about it was that I didn't want to be that skinny girl. Like I know, we all know one of those skinny girls who doesn't eat anything. And we all know like guys want to date a girl that like eats in and out with them and like, does all this stuff. And I knew that like at my core. So I would hide it from people. But when I went out socially, I would eat normally and then just really regret it later.
Yeah.
I'm thankful I never had.
And it's so sad because what you just said was like the smallest sentence, but like 4 massive stereotypes that like we all have to deal with. Yeah. Like we don't want to be that skinny, but we don't want to be big, but we can't eat this food, but we can't let guys know we don't eat this food. Like it's like, what the frick?
It's this really untalked about, understandable. It's this rule that we've created.
Every single person listening right now is like, yep.
Yeah.
Like I know
it's something we created and we didn't talk about it because I didn't talk to my friends about this, but I would eat so clean. To this day, I still struggle with this. I'll eat so clean during the week and then I'll have one night where I go ham and I always feel sick at the end. And I go, damn it, Ashley, like you went too far again.
Yeah.
And it's because I'm at a much better place now.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
But like I've created this negative connotation to eating fun food.
Yeah.
And I will let myself do it in front of a guy that I'm interested in, or if I'm going out socially, because I don't want to be the annoying girl that only eats chicken.
Yeah.
But that is also not healthy because I need to find balance for myself.
Oh, totally.
It shouldn't be anyone else involved. This should be about me and my relationship with food. Fully. And if I'm in the mood to have a little splurge, then I think it's better for me personally. This is what I've come to at the age of 30 with all the wisdom that I have gathered in these years to have little splurges here and there, because by the end of the week, when I do get my fun meal, I don't feel like I have to like dive elbow deep into chocolate frosting.
Oh, totally.
You know what I mean?
Totally.
And so I feel like that's kind of where I'm at now. I went really hard with working out. I got too extreme where I was working out way too much every day, not eating enough. And I thought I was fit, which is so weird because.
And miserable, right?
I was miserable. Yeah. And like at my skinniest, which was probably, I don't know, 4 years ago, I think. I look back and like, yes, I looked great. But whenever I look back at those photos, Taryn can attest to this, Alicia can attest to this. All I remember are all the headaches I had, how tired I was. I was in school and I was working full time and I had zero energy and my head hurt 24/7. And I thought that was normal. That's not
like,
normal.
Oh, well, this is a sacrifice I have to pay if I want to look like this.
Freaking like, beauty is pain. Like it's so ingrained in us that this is how it is.
Totally.
And I could not believe how much happier I was when I like walked away from it.
Yeah.
I walked away in the other direction for a minute, but I finally found like a ground right now. It's not perfect, but
it's yours.
It's healthier and it's mine. Yeah. And I think it's so cliche and I feel like we talk about it a lot, but like everybody's different.
Yep.
And I can't compare my path to Taryn's path and she can't do and vice versa.
No.
Because we all have to figure this out for ourselves, not for the guys, not for the girls that we're comparing ourselves to online or in person.
Yeah.
But for ourselves. And I feel like that's kind of in a nutshell.
Yeah.
how I've struggled with food and working out.
Thanks, Ash.
Yeah.
It's like, I think like, I think we so casually share stuff about ourselves, Yeah. But it is like, these are like all things like we've dealt with. And I think that's one of the things, why, a lot of you guys are like, we feel like we're best friends with you because we do, like, we know that you are all sending in stuff and putting stuff out there. And like, we want to reciprocate that. Like we want to be like real and genuine. And I think the whole thing about a trust relationship is like both people are giving out. And so we're not just sitting here gonna like sit on these like safe chairs and like whatever. And I totally will cry when at like probably like 5 times in this episode. So just get used to it. But I love what you said about like, it's like, we're in our 30s and you would think like we'd have it all together. And no. But I don't think you ever get there. Like,
no,
I think it's something that you have to choose every single day. And I think that's what people get discouraged and then just bail out because they're like, well, obviously I'm just insecure. Obviously I'm this. I'm never going to get there. And so I think it's something you have to choose every day. And some days are really hard and some days are not as hard. And where do you find that balance? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I've been having a really hard week, a really hard month. Quarantine sucked for me. I'm just going to throw that out there.
Cut to like when we first started, we're like, we're thriving.
I was so excited to dive into myself. And then like, I can't, I'm having a really hard time. Anyways, today, all I wanted was a bagel and I gave myself that bagel and zero regrets because that's what I wanted. And it's not going to like eat me up inside to think about it. You know?
Gosh. Yeah. Yeah, no, totally. I totally agree.
And that's health, people. And that's on
health.
Period.
That's balance. Period. Okay. Let's dive into Taryn.
Little Taryn.
Well, I think same thing. Like I don't remember ever thinking anything different until probably like around junior high.
It's the worst age.
Yeah. I definitely was like rounder, but like never... I look back and I'm like, you were so cute. Like, why do you think like, I remember thinking so many times, like I wasn't like everyone else. And then I think I've shared on here before, there was one time where a girl who all the guys liked, I found out that my crush, like my big time crush, liked her. And so I, in traditional junior high style, like ran to a building and started crying, like waiting for someone to follow me and be like, what's wrong?
Yeah.
And she followed me and was like, what's the matter? And I was like, it's just not fair. Like everyone always likes you. And like, none of the guys ever like me. In hindsight, all of the guys liked me, but my dad was the principal. So no guy would like admit it. But I didn't know that then. I just felt like
I don't think
everyone has crushes on everyone except me. Like what's wrong with me? Which just shows like the tiniest little thing can set. I remember I seriously struggled so hard of not being able to understand why no boys ever liked me, you know? Anyways, so she made a comment and totally not like, obviously it was something she had heard. Like she was young and like innocent too.
Right.
But
we don't blame her.
No, I don't at all. But she made a comment like, well, maybe if like you lost some weight or maybe if you buy a bra that's bigger, then boys will like you. And I remember that was the first time I associated my body is impacting if I'm desired or not.
Yeah. Almost like it's a direct correlation.
Yeah. And then, you know, that was like around the time like girls were like stuffing their bras, like trying to be skinny, not eating the foods that they wanted. And it was kind of like this slow swirling thing. I've always struggled with like body confidence and things like that. And I think where it becomes like complicated with me is I have this very like confident personality.
Yes, you do.
And people assume confident people don't feel anything. So they're these like hard rocks. But the truth is like I've struggled with things like just like everyone else. And it's funny still to this day, like people being so sweet and I know what they're saying will just be like, oh, I love how you don't let anyone say anything about your body and you're just so confident. Like love the confidence, keep rocking your thing. And I'm like, okay, but like just the fact that you're saying that is you being like, oh, I saw this picture and you look bigger, but you don't seem to care. And that's great. You know what I mean?
Thumbs
like,
up.
So it's like, it's always something that's in my mind and I struggle with. I think about maybe earlier this year, I had the realization that I think I have struggled with body dysmorphia and I'm going to start crying. It was like really hard to realize that, you know?
Yeah.
I remember I was like scrolling. I am so sorry everyone for my like, this is like my crying voice, but I remember I was scrolling and just like beating myself up, like just being like so mean to myself. And looking at old pictures and saying like, oh my gosh, like look at how thin you were, like what have you done? Like you were so good. Like how could you let yourself get to this? Like all these things. And I totally think it was like a God thing because it was not like a realization I had on my own. But all of a sudden, like I scrolled to this photo and was just like beating myself up looking at it. And right away I had this very vivid memory of like me posting that photo and the fact that I like face-tuned like my arms to be smaller and my legs to be smaller and smooth stuff out and sat and stared at the photo for so long being like, I'm so fat. Like, I don't want to post this because I'm so fat. And all of a sudden, like, I literally felt like I got kicked in the gut because I'm looking at this photo being like, I would give anything to be this small again.
Yeah.
But even when I was that small, I was beating myself up because I was huge in my mind, you know? And it was just like this realization I came to of like, I'm never going to be happy if I don't figure out like the core thing. And like, how dare I like talk to myself like that? Yeah. Like it's ridiculous, you know? Like how many times I've convinced myself that a guy didn't like me because I'm too fat or, you know, like friendships or like, you know, always like going to sleepovers and everyone's sharing clothes. And I'm like, well, I can't fit in their clothes, you know?
It all comes back to that being the
totally.
problem.
Yeah. And so get it together. Okay. So then I kind of went through this process, right? Like I started thinking, and not shying away from like what I don't like about myself. So like, for instance, like one of the things was like my arms, like I've always been insecure about my arms. And then I was like sitting there and I started to like separate body in regards to beauty and body in regards to function, if that makes sense. And I started thinking about the fact that like my arms, all of the things I can do with my arms, like I can hug the people I love. I can lift things. Someday I'm going to hold my kids with these arms. Someday I'm going to like, you know, whatever, like stick my arm outside my window and I feel the breeze, and that's when I feel free when I'm in the car. Like all of the things that are so beautiful about these arms that I will stare at for hours and dissect and be like, why does my skin go in right there? Like, why does that look like wrinkly? Like, why does that flop when I wave? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was just this realization that like, I have such a gross, like miscued view of what my body is. And instead of like being grateful that I have this healthy body, I'm so focused on what I want to be different about it. And the fact of the matter is like, there are so many times I have been like desired by a guy who thought I had a great body, or I've had a girl that's like, oh, I wish I had like a curvy body like you. Like that's so sexy. And like, I'm skinny, or you know what I mean? And so it's like, at the end of the day, like none of this freaking matters.
Yeah.
Like it's so frustrating. And that's why I cry, because I think about all of the times that I did not go somewhere. I didn't approach someone. I didn't buy that. I didn't, just like talk to myself in a nice way because of this messed up view that at the end of the day, it does not freaking matter. There is no definition of beauty. There is no standard body size. Physically, me and you are built different, and I will never look like you and you will never look like me.
No.
Like never.
Yeah.
Even if I'm a size 4 and you're a size 4, our bodies will look different. Mm-hmm. And some pants will fit me and some, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just, I think I came to this like blinding realization that even though I'm this confident person and I've always said like, no, I love my body, like there are these dark, ugly thoughts that go on in my mind, and it all kind of came to the surface. So this journey has been like super fresh for me too. And that's why I was like so pumped to talk about it. Sorry I cried forever, but anyways.
I think the common denominator and the message we're really trying to send out with this episode is that everyone is struggling with the exact same thing. And what you see in someone else as beautiful and perfect, they see as flawed. And they're actually looking at something on you that they think is beautiful and perfect.
Yeah.
That you would never think of that of yourself. You know what I mean? Like I remember having a really long conversation in high school in the PE locker room. All the girls were changing. And that was back in the day when like freaking Hollister jeans were in, and it was like
Hollister.
Freaking low rise.
I never fit.
Who created low rise? It's the worst concept. And to go through middle school with low rise being a trend, I cannot, you guys, I cannot. But I remember one of my friends saying that she was trying to get to my size. And I looked at her and I said, I still can't wear Hollister jeans.
Yeah.
If you think I'm the goal, like guess what? They don't fit me right.
Yeah.
Like, they don't. And I know I was thinner than her, but like I have thick thighs and I do have a butt.
Yeah.
And they don't fit me.
Yeah.
And I tried every pair of jeans that they owned and they still didn't fit me right because they weren't made for my body type.
Yeah.
And that was something like our entire locker room like sat around and realized we were all wearing the same jeans because we were all trying to look like the models in the posters. Yeah. And I don't know if y'all remember like the old school Hollister models, but
I remember them.
Oh my damn.
They were the beach goddesses.
They were the ESPN goddess models.
Yep.
And the fact that we were all trying to look like them was absolutely ridiculous. But it kind of like created this weird like understanding just in that moment. It lasted for literally like 5 minutes. That was it. I wish all of high school was like that. But I remember everyone being like, whoa, that's weird.
Yeah.
You're trying to be her. There was someone else in the locker room that I was trying to be.
Yep.
And all of us were just trying to look like these models.
Oh no, it's so true.
It's dumb.
It's so true. And I think one of the reasons like I really wanted us to like be raw is because, you know, being in social media, like there's so many times I read through my comments and girls that are like, oh, like I wish I looked like you. I wish I was as pretty as you. I wish I was this. And every time I look at it, I'm like, I think I would love to be a part of the movement that just is like breaking down these like false realities. Like reality is like, I am beautiful, but I struggle. I have times that I like don't like things or I won't post a picture because I'm like, ew, I look so gross, which is like something I really want to change. And I remember the day because I don't like a few years ago when Facetune was just a thing, like you just did it to your photos. And I remember the day where I was like, you will no longer do this. Like, it's not real. It's not right. Like, you're going to stop touching your body. And so there's been times where I've posted a photo and there's cellulite or something that I'm like, oh, I wish I could just smooth that out. But it's not reality. And I think we live in this world where all these Instagram baddies have these like face-tuned bodies where they're creating hips, they're taking away hips, they're taking away midsection, they're smoothing things out, they're lifting, they're putting things down. You know what I mean? And that's what we're comparing ourselves to. And it's unrealistic because it's not real.
Yeah.
Like it's literally not real.
Even as simple as so many people, one of my number one things is you're so photogenic.
Yeah.
The amount of photos I take to get that one good looking one. Ask Taryn. And like, especially like these people that I follow, they have friends or boyfriends or husbands that are legit photographers taking photos of them. They're not over here taking a selfie with a phone, which is the worst angle you can do. Like it's just, there's so much more that goes into it that I would really, if I could just take a moment to really preach to everyone who needs to hear this, there's so much work that goes into one Insta photo. It's not like we just sat there, snapped it and posted.
It's a whole session.
I took it a week ago.
Get like 1 or 2 pics out of it. You know what I mean?
I took it forever ago and I sat there for a long time color correcting it. And there, you know, it took a long time to get one good, like if Taryn's taking a photo of me, she'll be like, turn this way, drop your shoulder, turn your head this way. You know, we're trying to get an artsy fun pic and we do love photography as an art, but
totally.
There's a lot that goes into it.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Completely.
I just wanted to say that.
I think that's good. Yeah. I think that, I mean, the bottom line is we're all struggling and we have to figure out how to erase the definition of beauty in our minds. And I think when we acknowledge that like everyone feels that way, it helps to make it like a little bit more attainable. You know, we're like, oh, she struggles. Like she's crying about this. Like, what the heck? I thought she was so confident. Like we all struggle, like whether we preach about it or not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anywho, so that's us. I'm sure we'll share more stuff as this goes, but let's go ahead and get into it. Hey guys, we just wanted to take a minute to say thank you.
We love you guys so much. We love our little fam that we have on here. It would mean the world to us if you would rate, review, subscribe, and share our podcast. Get the word out there.
Yes.
Tell your mom, tell your cousin, tell your second cousin. Everyone needs advice. So just put it out there.
Just do it.
And yeah, that's all we had to say. So let's get back to the show.
Yup.
Okay, I'm going to dive in with one of the first ones here. The first thought here says, thoughts on calling someone too skinny.
Ooh.
Which I think is really incredible. I think the pendulum swings both ways.
Yeah.
Pendulum.
Whatever, that thing that swings.
Y'all fully understood where I was going with that.
Yeah, we did.
Where it is inappropriate to call someone too fat, it is definitely still inappropriate to call someone too skinny. Just like someone is trying to lose weight, someone is eating and trying to get boobs.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, some body types aren't going to get them and they will always covet curvy girls. Just like if you're curvy, you'll always covet the skinny. It's like me and Taryn were saying, you always want what you don't have. Yep. I have met so many people out here living in LA that are stick thin and have implants and are looking into butt implants and are doing 500 squats a day to build their booty because they cannot do it without doing that. They can't maintain without doing that. They're eating junk food and they're eating a lot of it to build fat so that they can create and sculpt their butt.
Yeah.
It's insane. So I feel like growing up, I didn't see it as much, but the second I came out here, I feel like I met a lot of people who are working so hard to have some kind of womanly curve.
Yeah.
Because they were born with none.
Yeah.
And so I think the same way it's hurtful to call someone fat, I think it is also very hurtful to call someone too skinny.
I fully agree. Like, bottom line, you should not make a comment.
It's not your place.
Of any kind of anyone's body.
Yeah.
And I think the only exception is if you know a person and you know that there is some type of maybe disorder in play and they're unhealthy and like need help, then that's where you come in out of love and say like, hey, like I love you and support you and I want to whatever. But it should never just be an assumption that you make or a comment that you throw out there. Like, I've heard a lot of, and I've been guilty of it where I'm complaining about my body. And then one of my friends who does have a smaller build will say like, oh, I know, me too. And my number one reflex is to be like, oh my gosh, shut up. Seriously. Like that's so annoying that you're complaining about your body when I'm over here. Like I could like eat you and you could fit inside of me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's not fair either, because every single person has something that they're insecure about. And it's not my right to be angry at someone because I envy their body. Like that's not fair either. And I actually just screenshotted, a quote today and I was like telling Ashley about it. Yeah. And it said, another person's beauty is not the absence of your own.
Yeah.
And I think that is the whole thing, is we tie what we feel, how we perceive ourselves to what we think someone else thinks about us, what we see someone else looking like. It's always tied somewhere else. Like if you were ever just in a room on your own with only like knowledge of your body and what you look like, not tying to anything else, you would not have the same thoughts. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So it's like, how do we disconnect from those things? But bottom line, it's not your body, so it's not your business.
It's not your body. Mm-hmm. It's not your business. Can someone please make an edit with that quote?
Please do.
That's great.
I was like, oh my God, that sounded cool, dude.
That sounded really good.
Accidentally.
Like that a lot.
I know. Okay. This one says, I have this thing where I feel confident when I'm dressed because I have that pear shape. But anytime I see myself in the mirror, naked or with minimal clothes, I feel so self-conscious. Is that normal for others?
I think that's extremely normal.
Yeah, it's funny. Sometimes, I also wanted to say before we keep going, this is not just for girls. I think guys have a lot of insecurities. Obviously, we can only speak from a girl one. So guys can relate to this in any ways they can. But I also think this is a very good episode for guys to listen to understand the pressures that come as a woman, because I think guy comments are even more freaking damning and they don't even know. Like they'll just throw out this comment like, ooh, I love thick girls. And I know he means that as a compliment to me, but I'm like, bro, don't call me thick. Like I can call myself thick, but don't call me thick.
You can't call me thick.
So I think this is good for guys to listen to like all the freaking crap that like girls have to deal with anyways. Yeah. But they deal with it on their own too.
They really do. And I feel like with theirs, there's a twist because everything threatens their masculinity.
Oh, if a guy were to be like, I'm insecure about my body, he would get eaten alive.
Yeah, he's being too emotional and he's not man enough. Fully. It's so ridiculous. Yeah. So there's a twist to that.
Oh, totally. Yeah, it's funny. Some days I'm like, man, I wish I could walk around naked all day. Like I'd rather be naked than clothes, because clothes have always been a hard, like there's so many times like the Grinch, where he's like trying things on and he's like, that's it, I'm not going. That's me, literally. I'll text Ashley and be like, I'm not going. And she's like, shut up, get clothes on. Yeah. But clothes, I've had a very unhealthy relationship with clothes and like wanting, it sucks when styles are in that just, you can't, like it's just not
freaking Hollister.
It's not
jeans.
A thing for your body. No. Nope. So I've definitely had a bad relationship with that. So yeah, there's been times where I'm like naked and I'm looking at my body. I'm like, it's really not that bad. But I put on like a shirt or something and I'm like, I look like a parachute. So I think that is totally normal. Yeah. Clothes are a very easy way to hide certain things. But I think that shows even more reason that sometimes when you hide things too much, it becomes like this alternate reality. And I don't think you should have to feel like you have to hide anything about your body. Like all bodies are beautiful no matter what is being accentuated or not. So I don't think that's not normal. I think that's very normal. And I think it's just something, it's like we've talked about like an injury, like a scar, you're not going to feel, like if you pour rubbing alcohol on a scar, you're not going to feel anything. If you pour it and it starts to sting, that shows you like there's still some healing that needs to take place. So I think every time those things come up, it's just, okay, right now I'm feeling it. So how do I affirm myself? How do I, shift my thinking? But no, that's totally normal.
Yeah, it's extremely normal. And I think that feeling comes in waves for some people. You can let me know if you think I'm wrong, but there's days usually like post period.
Yeah.
Where I feel hot as hell.
Oh yeah. And you stare at yourself a little while.
I'm putting on clothes and I'm like, I am hiding all of this goodness.
The world needs to see
like
this.
If I could just walk around in a bikini right now, that's what I would do.
Yeah.
You know, and that usually lasts for like a week. And then all I want to do is hide myself.
Yeah.
So I think it's really healthy to realize that you're going to have highs where you are feeling sexy and you are feeling great about yourself. Maybe snap a little extra like photos of yourself. And then the rest of the month, you're like, well, I'm going to pull from this old photo shoot that I took, you know?
Yeah. And I think it's okay to wear clothes. I think we need to stop. I know
it's okay to wear clothes.
It's okay to wear clothes, guys. No, but like, I think what I would do is I would not buy clothes that fit my body because I'm like, no, I need to lose weight so I can fit in this, or I'm going to make myself wear this so I feel uncomfortable and whatever. But it's okay to like realize like if your clothes are not fitting your body, donate them, like give them to someone else or maybe store them, whatever, and buy clothes that like fit you comfortably and make you feel confident. That's okay. Like you don't have to fit into a style because everyone else is wearing it. Like if you want to wear high-waisted sweatpants because you feel confident in it, do it. Throw on a cute jacket, throw on some cute booties, like whatever you got to do. But we got to stop trying to make our body fit into stuff and buy clothes that fit our body instead.
I remember having a really hard time with a pair of Topshop jeans that I had. They were skinny black and I loved them. They were my favorite pants. I wore them 24/7 and I remember at a certain point they were feeling tight, but I would not jump the size.
Yep.
I needed to. I should have. I had to wear baggy tops on top of those jeans, but I wouldn't give up the jeans because I was like, no, this is me. This is my size.
But you're so uncomfortable all day.
But
you take your pants off and you have like permanent lines.
If I ate one meal,
you're done.
I couldn't. It was too tight. And they would fit in the morning, but if I had breakfast,
goodbye.
If I had lunch, like it was too much and I couldn't sit comfortably.
Yeah.
So, you know, to a degree, at a certain point, just get the bigger size.
Yeah. If it fits your body.
It's more flattering. You're not going to have that roll.
Yeah.
Because it actually fits you.
Yeah.
So that's just a weird.
And we are not defined by our size. Like it's not. If you need to cut off the tags to stop staring at it, then fine, do that. But we're not defined by that. Okay. I think I went last. Go ahead.
Next one. I worry that as my body changes, my husband won't think I'm attractive.
Honey.
I have no husband. I have not had kids yet. But I do think we as women need to be a lot more gracious on ourselves. Our bodies are freaking incredible. The fact that they can mold and expand and shrink as we have kids is absolutely like just incredible and fantastic. And it's honestly, it feels like the more friends that go through it for me, the more I'm like, wow, women, damn women, like look at us go. Like this is what our bodies were made to do. And, I've seen so many people now be so much more open about it on social media. And it makes me so happy because it needs to be understood that women's bodies change.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate because guys don't really, they do, but not to the extent that ours do.
Yeah.
When it comes to having kids.
Yeah.
Like your body is meant to expand and shrink and then expand again, you know, with each kid. And it's never going to be the way it was before.
No.
And so we need to just be more gracious with ourselves. And I think if your husband loves you, then he's going to see how magnificent your body is.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and there's so much more to even a relationship than physical. Like there's been, we've talked about this before. There's been guys that I'm like, hubba, like, please have my children because they're so hot. And then like I start to talk to them and then I'm like, okay, you're not listening to me. You're not like, this conversation is not intriguing, or you kind of sound like a jerk. And instantly I'm like, I'm not into him, you know? But then there's been other guys that, and again, this is like a shallow and we're trying to break this, but there's been guys that like I've been not as attracted to, and I start to talk to them and get to know their heart and what makes them who they are. And all of a sudden I think they're the hottest guy in the world.
Yeah.
So I think there's so much more than like the physical attraction that, you know, it is important. And I think it's more important in like the beginning.
Yeah.
And like this guy chose you. He chose you. He committed to you. He's having a family with you. Like he loves you. And I think it's okay for you to open up and talk to him about stuff like that, because I think it's good for him to know that there are going to be times where, again, we always say you got to tell people how you need to be loved, but there's going to be times where maybe you have a code word and you're like, hey, honey, pineapple. And that means I feel gross and I need you to gas me up. You know what I mean? But no, I think that's something you need to be careful not to let it get too big in your head.
Yeah. But I also do think it's very normal to worry about that. That's just life.
I worry about that now and I'm not even buddy. I haven't even given him a chance. Okay. What do you think about people complimenting people's weight loss or gain?
Ooh,
it's a very interesting topic. Because, I mean, people are like, oh, you look so good. Have you been losing weight?
Yeah.
And instantly you're like, oh, that sucks, because that means you didn't think I looked as good.
Yeah.
With the extra pounds, you know?
I think, I think this is really good. One, I think you do need to be careful that you make it very clear that they were hot and gorgeous before.
Yes.
And that you don't make it seem like they should be happy now because they're skinnier.
Yeah.
However, I do think it is important to recognize that they took control.
Yes.
Of something if it was really bothering them. So like whether they're bigger or they're smaller, if they're bigger and losing weight because they want to and they have desired to and they have made a goal and they're trying to get to that goal and it's a healthy thing, then I think congratulations. Like you worked so hard because it does take work to do that.
Oh yeah.
So I think there's nothing wrong. And I would actually encourage you to encourage your friends that are going through that because they need the encouragement. Like it's hard work to lose weight.
Yeah.
But I think it's very important how you spin it because you don't want to be like, oh, you're getting skinny. Congrats. Like how exciting for you, because all of a sudden it becomes about the weight loss, not about how much work they've been doing.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I think it's a very slippery thing. So, again, I just feel like unless it's like a nice thing to say, we shouldn't comment on people's bodies. So you can say like, hey, you look really pretty today. Like you look beautiful. You're glowing. You look really healthy. Yeah. But don't ever tie it to, are you losing weight?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think it's fine to just leave the first comment and drop the second part of it.
Yeah. Maybe you know that's a good, like, and then I actually like that as like almost a rule.
Oh, totally. If that person, like if someone's like tells me, oh my God, Terry, you look really good. I can say like, yeah, I've been like working out and like eating healthy and like, you know, I've lost 20 pounds. And if I say that, then okay, I've put it on the table. So obviously I'm okay with us talking about it.
Open the door to that conversation.
But I think just saying like, hey, like you're literally glowing. You look great. You know, I think that's all you need to say.
I think I actually I do that a lot. Mm-hmm. I'll say, oh girl, you're looking skinny. Like what's going on? And I shouldn't say that.
Yeah. No, I agree, because it does gas up a like, oh, I'm getting comments because I've lost weight. And if they don't come anymore, oh, I must not look as good.
And what's crazy is that I do say that a lot. Mm-hmm. And that just goes to show how much I think about that all the time.
Oh, it's so true.
Because I'm like, you wear jeans and a t-shirt around me 24/7 and I can still tell.
Yes.
That means I really focus in on, I know what you look like.
Yep. It's true, girl.
Interesting.
Breaking down the barriers, ladies and gentlemen.
We're really trying over here. Okay. Next one. How to not count calories and compare your body from past years as you mature.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I'm not sure what age you're at, but, again, me and my wise old age of 30, I have really figured out that all these different diets work for only specific types of people. Mm-hmm. Counting calories didn't work for me. I tried it.
Me
Trust me, I literally tried everything. Keto didn't work for me. There's a lot of things that I went through that did not work for me. And what it came down to was me realizing, like I tried being vegan. Mm-hmm. I tried doing keto. I tried doing calorie counting. I did the shakes. Like I did everything. Yeah. And what I realized is that my body needs carbs.
Yeah.
It needs it. Like I don't do well without it. I get really bad headaches.
Yeah.
And they affect me on the daily. I also feel like I work a lot better with protein. Mm-hmm. So once I realized that, I made sure that I get that every single day. And I've never felt better.
Yeah, because you're like our poor bodies. Think about what we've put them through.
Yeah.
Like, hi, here's dairy. Just kidding. You can't have it anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, you like sugar? Cool. You're never going to have it again.
Nope.
Like, it's just like back, forth. And like, oh, well, fruit has sugar, so I shouldn't have fruit. Like, well, freaking God created the world growing fruit out of it. So like, obviously we should have it. You know what I mean?
And
so
again, this all comes in moderation, but it's figuring out for yourself what works for yourself. So if counting calories doesn't work, don't force it.
Yes,
you know,
I totally agree.
I'm all for trying the new diets because I think there is truth to some of them, but if it doesn't work for you, it probably doesn't work for a reason.
And your body will tell you, like, if you're miserable, if you're having headaches, if you're grumpy, like there's like a detox period, but if you are not able to function and your energy level's low, like you're just struggling, that's your body saying like, hey, this source of energy you're giving me is not enough. Like it's not working. Yeah. And our bodies change so much. Like I did keto when I was younger, and I lost like 40 pounds, like boom, like not working out, not doing anything. My meals would be like a Del Taco bean burrito with no cheese and a fry and a Diet Coke. And I somehow like lost so much weight. Yeah. And then I got older and I was like, oh, I'd love to just like drop some pounds, like no big deal. So I did keto again and like really stuck with it. And I like fluctuated a little bit, but I felt miserable. I was not losing weight. So something within those years changed within my body, and you can't keep trying to like beat down your body in these ways that you feel like, oh, well, it worked for her. It is like a give and take, finding like, okay, let me try this. Let me commit to it because I want to be healthy. I want whatever. And then if your body starts telling you no, then it's like, okay, then we got to find something else. You know what I mean?
And I do think it's safe to say the older you get, the more you
complicated
you take from what you eat.
Yeah, I agree.
When you're younger, I think you can bounce back really quick and you can lose weight really fast. But the older you get, the slower your metabolism gets, the less you work out realistically, you know? And you're just going to have to learn to ebb and flow with it.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
Totally agree. How can I get over an insecure area of my body? I think I talked about it a little bit in like what I was sharing about like my arms, but I think like kind of like focus on it. It sounds weird, but you know, for instance, I'll try to think of what another one is on me. I'm trying to think. I'm like, I shouldn't talk about my lady parts. So I have cellulite on my legs, right? Like, so when I wear shorts, I like was always insecure. I like never wear shorts because I don't want that to show, whatever. So what I started doing is it's like, okay, if it's something that you don't like about your body and there's like healthy ways that you can work on it, then great. You know, like I read some things and it was like, sometimes if you like make sure like you're like using lotion or like, you know, your circulation's good, things like that. I can learn how to prevent it if I want to, if it's something I'm like, no, I would like to work on this for my body. I think that's okay. Yeah. Where the difference is if I'm like, I have to get rid of this because I am not beautiful because I have it. There's a difference. Yes. But I think it's okay if you like healthily want to look into things. If it's things about your body, like the cellulite I have on my legs, I probably will always have because it's just kind of how it works. So for me, I stopped trying to avoid it. And I would like purposefully stand and look at myself in the mirror and tell myself I was beautiful. I would stop trying to like be so afraid that anyone would see it. I would start like finding positive things like the Bird's Papaya. I freaking love her Instagram. She talks a lot about.
If you don't follow her,
oh my God, you
go follow
need
her.
To do it right now. But she talks a lot about stretch marks and her body and how it changed after having kids, and just even her just like talking about this thing that no one talks about. Like no one posts pictures and says like, oh, here's my cellulite or here's my stretch marks. So I think it's like finding positive things to go in, but also like learning how to like physically look at yourself. And even if you don't feel it right away, start to do those positive affirmations of like, you are beautiful. You are a part of me. I appreciate you. Like every French fry that created you, or just whatever cell that decided to like do whatever. Yeah. Like you are a part of me and I love me. So I love you. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. In the words of Kendrick Lamar, show me something natural, like ass with some stretch marks.
Yes.
It's natural.
It's natural.
It's natural. I've had
shame
stretch marks.
on everyone who made us feel like nobody got that. I remember the first time I got one, I was like, what the heck is that? There's a worm under my skin.
Literally. No one told me about it. I got my first, I literally have stretch marks on both cheeks, and I've had them since high school.
Yep.
It just, my butt appeared one day and that's what happens.
Yeah. And your body's like, what's this?
What's another cool thing that I've been seeing on social media lately is models, like Victoria's Secret models, Sports Illustrated models, showing real life photos of them in mirrors, and they have stretch marks.
Well, and
it gets photoshopped.
That's the whole thing. Like, that's why we need to stop creating this, like, you're skinny, so you stand on this side of the line. I'm thicker, so I need to stand on this side of the line.
Yeah.
Because we're really, even the tiniest girls have stretch marks. So it's like, I don't understand why this is a shameful thing, because all bodies have it. Guys have them. You know what I mean?
It's a just real thing.
It's what our bodies do. And that's why we need to stop thinking about our bodies as just aesthetic and think about the functions it has. Like, that stretch mark means that my skin was able to expand to let something be there, whether it's an organ that grew or whatever the hell grew, like fat, whatever. It was able to expand and not stay in place so that I'm suffocating and like smothering things that need more space in my body. Like, what the frick? Like, why do we think about it that way? It's so messed up.
And I think the unfortunate thing we do is, I think we've taken the idea of stretch marks and put the concept that you're not fit or healthy if you have stretch marks.
Yes, I agree.
And I think that at the core is the problem, because again, even the skinniest girls can have stretch marks. I've seen
even
it.
like men who like grow a lot of muscle will get stretch marks
on their biceps,
and they look amazing. Like, their bodies look great. They look healthy. They have like all of the muscles they've been trying. So it's just freaking ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. So I think the thing we need to do is just understand that stretch marks are natural.
Yeah.
And just
But I would, whatever you're insecure about, stare it right in the eye and just start to change the dialogue that you use when you are looking at it. That's my advice would be.
The next one I see here says dating. I'm more on the curvy end of the scale, and I feel like I can't date skinny/athletic guys because I'm bigger than them.
Ooh. Do you want to go on that one?
I think that just on the surface, that sounds like a very negative thought that most of us would let take over our minds. I think it's really important when it comes to stuff like this to realize that if you're letting that thought control you, then we need to start combating that negative thinking. The truth is, I've met guys that like skinny girls. I've met guys that like curvy girls, and nothing is wrong with it. So the fact that you are thinking this and letting yourself think that you wouldn't be good enough, to me, I think it's that thought that's the problem.
Yeah.
Because you're fully capable of dating whoever you want. And I think if you got that thought out of the way, you might actually be able to see the guys that are interested in you.
Yeah, I do. I really think there's something to, if I walk in a room and I look at a guy and I'm like, there's no way, like, I'm going to present that way in my body language. I'm going to probably, every time he looks at me, look away. You know what I mean? So I think there's something about like, whereas if I were to walk in the room and walk right up to him and be like, hey, how's your night going? He'd be like, oh, hi. You know what I mean?
Hey, yeah. Because confidence is it.
And there are different people have different tastes. Oh, same. People have different tastes, but like at the end of the day, what's on the inside matters the most.
Yeah.
And you know, even if I were to, obviously he's married, but Chris Hemsworth, like I would look at him and be like, there's no way he would ever. And like, shame on me for thinking that, because like, bro, you would be lucky to have me because I am a gem. So it's like, we've got to stop putting this like us and them mentality and know that we're worth everything. If he doesn't find me attractive, that's just because I'm not his taste, and that's okay. Like, I don't find every guy attractive, you know?
Yeah. Also at this point, what's happening is you're putting your thoughts into you're assigning your thoughts and giving it to them
and that's not
without
fair
even giving them the chance to let you know how they think, because I guarantee you most of them probably don't think like that. Some of them do, and they're assholes and they don't deserve us.
And you don't want them. If you really think about it, like if you walk up to a guy and he's like, ew, she's big, I don't want her.
Bye.
Like that is something way down deep in the core that you do not even want to touch. So like, honestly, if people respond in that way, I just spit so far, sorry. If people respond in that way, instead of seeing that as like, oh my gosh, that hurt, that was an attack on me, be like, oh my God, thank you for showing me your ugly way of thinking, because I don't want anything to do with that.
You just saved me.
Yeah, you totally
so
saved
much
me.
time. Yeah.
Yep.
So I would say learn to combat. Wow, Ashley, learn to combat those thoughts for yourself.
I agree.
And stop assuming that that's what guys are thinking, because from what I understand, they don't think that way. No,
and even like I went on a date with a guy from a dating app, and I could tell like he kept looking me up and down.
He's into it.
No, it was like no, like I could tell he was like judging my body. Like it wasn't like a ooh, she's hot. It was like he kept judging my body. And it was so funny because like at the end of the night, he clearly like wasn't into it, but like, it was so funny because the whole time I'm like, I can feel you judging me. But what's hilarious is we would be sitting here in silence if I wasn't working so hard to try to pull out anything interesting in you whatsoever.
Boring as hell.
So it was the whole thing was like, okay, bro, you can be judging me all you want. And like, it was funny because there was one time he looked at me and then we made eye contact and I just kind of like smirked because I was just like, this is so funny because right now in your mind, you might be thinking like, ooh, I don't know. But like, I'm sitting here going like, oh, I know. Like, you're not interesting at all. Like, you're so boring, like all these things.
What a bot.
And so it was so funny because like the end of the night, like we both went our separate ways for our own reasons.
Right.
But it was just like, it was
I'm
cool
just
because
as not interested in you.
Yeah. At that time I was like, well, shame on you if that's really what you were doing. But also like, lol, because like, you're not interesting at all and I have no interest in you either. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think we just got to stop assigning like you said, assigning thoughts to people, and also realizing like if that truly is the case, then like girl, bye. You know what I mean?
100%.
Yeah. Okay. How do I deal with my family constantly telling me to lose weight?
Ouch.
I know.
First of all, I'm sorry that they're doing that to you.
It always sucks when it comes from people you're supposed to be like safe and close with.
Yeah.
I would say like you need to address it with them. I think even if like they don't respond in the way you want, I think you deep down will know that that was you like standing up for yourself. But I think, you can wait for them to say something and stand up and be like, hey, that comment was not okay. And like, I'm done. Or you can like call a family meeting and be like, hey, like, this is hard for me to talk about, but I need to just be honest with you guys. Like, you making comments about my body, like it's got to stop. It's putting me in an unhealthy place. Like I don't appreciate it. I'm trying to feel beautiful in who I am. And I love and care for you guys, but like this has got to stop. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think it needs to be like addressed.
I definitely agree with Taryn. I think you need to say something. Also, what bothers me is they didn't just say this once. It sounds like they're continuing to say it. If that's what they think, that's what they think, but they don't need to remind you about it every single day.
No.
So, they told you once. If I were you, I would say, hey, I heard you.
Yeah.
You don't need to tell me again. I am not deaf. Like I heard you.
Yeah.
And make it very clear that you need to make it very clear that you don't want to hear it anymore.
Yeah. And like your body's your own. It's not their business.
It's not their job.
If it's not your body,
it
ain't your business.
It's not your business.
I got more hood on that one.
She really did. Her hands went up too. I think she snapped.
I was snapping.
Next one. How do we deal with gaining weight during this time?
Literally mental over physical.
Yeah.
If that cookie is going to make you happy right now, we're all in a weird freaking time. Mental over physical. That's
I just
what I've been saying.
had a really long conversation with a friend of mine, actually multiple friends who are having a hard time. Some of them have been really fit and are kind of losing it. Some of them have maintained their whole life and are all of a sudden like, I can't fit into my clothes.
Yeah.
I think something that we need to realize is that stress messes with your body.
Oh, totally.
And whether you're still quarantined or not, this has been a stressful thing for most of us.
I agree.
Actually, I think all of us, we're in an actual world pandemic, and that is stressful. Even if you don't feel it, you're stressed because this is unknown. This is scary. This is different. Work is weird. We don't know what the future looks like. We don't know if this is going to come back, and that's going to cause you to stress. And for most people, that means weight gain. Even if you're still dieting and exercising, you're probably gaining a little bit or feeling a little softer. Maybe your pants are a little tighter because this is stressful. So I think for the foreseeable future right now, we all need to just give ourselves a little bit of a break. Yep. I used to work out and go to my spin classes, and I used to eat super clean, and I've backed off because I couldn't do that and be quarantined. Yeah. I couldn't. I was in a weird place. I was getting depressed. The fact is, I needed to let myself bake cookies because it was comforting. Oh, totally. And it made me feel good. No, I didn't eat the entire batch, but like I let myself, bless you. I let myself have the batter. I let myself like have a cookie or two, and then that was it, you know, but I think we need to let ourselves have those things and not be too hard on ourselves right now, because this is new. This is unknown, and this is different. And I think a comforting thing is that we're all going through this together.
No, literally all of us are going to leave this being like, oh, okay. You know, I was talking to a friend, he was like, I've been drinking more than I ever have. And I'm like, you know, we're all going to have those things we're going to have to detox
We're all going to be like, wow.
Yeah. Once the gyms are open or Soul Cycle or whatever you're into, like, when we're in a healthier place, it's okay to address those things then. But I think, like I said, I think if mental health, if you need that and, you know, you have gained a little weight, I think that you just need to focus on, like, again, our body's doing the best it can in this situation. And like Ash said, like, stress takes all types of forms. So I already within quarantine have been like, oh my gosh, I lost a little weight. And then the next week I'm like, whoop, there it is. You know what I mean? Like, so it's, you just gotta go with the flow, and you gotta give yourself grace in a time like this for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, this one's interesting. It's not a question, but she says, in middle school, people bullied me for being tall and skinny. And I hated myself. Now people are like, oh my gosh, you're tall and skinny. You should be a model. So true. Literally. And then like the Kardashians come along and it's like, oh, cool. Butts and thighs are in, but not butts and thighs. Not natural butts and thighs.
No,
like
those ain't natural.
Butts and thighs that have zero markings on them whatsoever, and a waist that is so freaking tiny that you question, do they have all their ribs? I don't know. No. You know what I mean? And again, their body's beautiful. It's their choice, whatever. But it's like, there's always like a caveat where it's like, oh yeah, this is cool now, but it's not. Okay, wait. Yeah, these are back in. Like, you know what I mean? So it's just, it's so dumb. That's why we just need to stop making definitions whatsoever.
Yeah. I remember when the Kardashians first like became a thing. I remember being so grateful because I was like, thank God they have butts.
Yeah.
You know, and this was back in the beginning before like all the butt implants and stuff like that. I just remember being like, they look like a woman. And that made me so happy because we were coming from stick thin models, you know, and stick back to the Hollister days again. Triggered Hollister days. And it just made me so grateful. I was like, thank God, like they're making this like a, you know, womanhood actually look beautiful. Yeah. And they're making a statement, you know. And now I'm just like, damn.
Well, that's the whole thing. It like everything is constantly morphing and changing, and you know, and there is like stuff that comes with also having a lot of money to pay for a nutritionist, a trainer, plastic surgery, things like that too. Yeah. So it's like you can't compare yourself to people. Even if someone had your exact same situation, there's genetics that come into play too. So it's just the whole comparison thing just like needs to stop.
Well, I worked out recently with my sister with Khloe Kardashian's trainer, like at the gym, same gym that we see in like the show. And like, it was really interesting. I had a real realization where I realized all these people, whether they're athletes or they're models or they're actresses, their full-time job is to look this way.
Yeah.
You know what that means? That means that they have a nutritionist and a trainer, and they spend every waking hour eating a plan that is boring as hell. Yeah. Literally chicken and broccoli. Like that's it. And working out 24/7 because that's what they're paid to look like.
Yeah.
That's their full-time job. The rest of us, we have 9 to 5s.
Yeah.
We don't have the luxury of getting to do that all the time. So
yeah, that's true. I mean, if part of your job, especially in social media, is like your image and whatever, if you are putting time and like things into that, then like, I mean, more again, the thing is we can't like say one's beautiful or not. Yeah. Like there's all these different things like you were saying, but it is like, we can't put ourselves in the same position as that, because it's like, I'm not in a situation where I can put all my money and time and effort into how I look. Like I can't, because I have school loans. I have like things I have to do, and it's just not my priority right now. Yeah. So it is like, it's not fair to compare when it's like, I don't even have the means or the desire, honestly. Like it sounds exhausting.
Chris Hemsworth, for example, love. Guess what his full-time job is when he's not acting, like actually filming? Yeah. It's working out. Yeah. That's his job is to look that good. Yeah. That is his brand. Yeah. So it makes sense. If your brand was microphones, you'd be working every day at perfecting the microphone. Yeah. His brand is his body. That means he works every single day to perfect that body. And that's that means he's in the gym all day long, you know? So I think it is important to realize that if you're comparing yourself to a celebrity, they're spending all their money and time focused on it.
Like that's their choice, and that's like what they like decide to do. So it's like, you know what I mean? It's just, you just got to see, like, you never know what's going on in someone's mind or like where they're at. So it's not fair to compare.
Yeah. Next one, how to not think about your body 24/7.
I think that like, there's definitely techniques you can use just in like changing a thought. One of the things, I forget what type of meditation it's called, but it's like basically like when you find yourself thinking about something that's out of your control or like obsessing over something, they say to like, you know, you close your eyes and you start going over like factual things that are in that moment, because it brings you back to like reality. Yeah. Yeah. So like for instance, right now, like I'm closing my eyes. I can hear like the playback of my voice in my ears. I feel the bed underneath me. I'm not really smelling anything. My body feels like slightly hot. You know what I mean? I'm like going through like, okay, what's my current reality? And then I think also having your like mantras in your head of like, I am beautiful. My body is doing a freaking great job. I'm proud of who I am. I'm proud of what my body can do. And like going through things to kind of shift it, and then being like, okay, moving on. You know what I mean? Yeah. So there definitely are techniques that you can like look for. But I think the key is to stop those thought processes. So you got to figure out some kind of tool that you can use to do that.
I literally don't even think I should add to it. I think that was perfect.
Oh, gosh.
Oh yeah. I mean, you gotta fight the thoughts.
Yeah. No, so I totally agree.
I agree with Taryn.
I agree with myself.
Can I do one last one?
Yeah, of course.
This one, I thought it just caught my eye at the last second. I really want to read it. It says, my father fat shames me, and I've been having an eating disorder and he has no idea about it. Do you have any advice?
That breaks my heart.
I think something that's really hard for absolutely everyone is coming to the realization that their parents aren't perfect. Yep. And whether he's doing this intentionally or he's not doing this intentionally, and he's just kind of just saying things, you know, but you know, in passing, it's hurting you. Yeah. And whether he knows it or not, that's not okay. Mm-hmm. So I think something that comes with growing older is learning to stick up for yourself. Yeah. And again, with the realization that our parents aren't perfect, you need to call him out on that so that he can change that.
Yeah, I agree.
If he doesn't know that this is hurting you, then he can't fix it. And I'm not excusing him in any way. But if he knows this is hurting you, and you're still not saying anything, I think it would really impact your guys' relationship, both of you guys, if you were to stand up and just be like, how dare you talk to me that way? You're my father. I expect more from you. Mm-hmm. He probably needs to hear it. And I think this would be a huge turning point in your life to actually stand up to him and stand up for yourself as well.
Yeah. And I think like, you know, there's a lot of things that you could say to him that would hopefully really like staying and be like, oh my gosh, you know, of just saying like, Dad, like, I know that you might not even intentionally be doing this, but every time you make a comment about me being fat, it burns this little thing in my head, and it's to the point where I honestly think I have an eating disorder. And be like, and Dad, like you're the person I'm supposed to look at to know like how future men are supposed to treat me. And you're putting this in my mind that like it's okay for someone to talk to me like this, and be like, I don't know if you're doing this on purpose, but like you really are damaging me, and like I need it to stop. Like even if you feel that way about me, like I just need it to stop, you know? But I think whether it's writing it down or physically sitting there, and, you know, if you have your mom in the picture, even like talking to her and being like, hey, like this is really affecting me. I could use your support, or can you sit with me when I talk to him, or a sibling or something like that. But I definitely think you need to like bring him in on seeing how much it actually is impacting you.
Yeah. I think he needs, I think we're at a point if this is starting.
Yeah.
And if eating disorder, especially, like I think we're past the point where you should say something.
And if he's in an unhealthy place and can't stop or doesn't care to, because unfortunately we can't control what others do. You need to really, sorry, I'm like choking on something. You need to really, put into practice how to devalue the words that come out of his mouth.
Yeah.
To the point where when he says something, you literally let it just roll off. And that's a practice within itself.
I was just going to say that's something that I think we all need to work on.
Yeah.
Because the truth is like the world's not going to treat you any easier.
Yeah.
So this is one of those things that, it's harder because it's your dad, but this is one of those things that it'll benefit you in the long run to stand up now, because in the future, if this ever happens again, you'll know what to do.
Yeah, no, of course. I'm
sorry, babe. That sucks.
I know. Okay. Well, thank you guys so much for sending in. Literally, we could probably do 3 more episodes, and maybe, you know, we might, who knows? But I just wanted to end with just this kind of list of like really quick things on how you can improve your body positivity and how you think before we close. So 1 is post positive affirmations on your mirror. Love that. 2, get rid of your scale. It definitely can become an obsession. So the number doesn't define you or your worth. So if that is impacting you, get rid of it. If you wouldn't say it to your friends, do not say it to yourself.
Wow. Yes.
Love that. Learn to accept a compliment. That is another thing. If you don't, I'm horrible sometimes at that. So I've been trying to like work on that too. Donate your clothing that doesn't fit instead of torturing yourself, and buy clothing you feel great in. We already talked about that.
Yes.
Question whether your body hate is helping. So I love that. Like me telling myself, you're disgusting, you're ugly. Is that changing anything?
Yeah.
No, it's making everything worse. So why cause unnecessary hate or stress on yourself? Do not compare yourself to others or your younger self. Love that too.
Wow.
Don't tell friends to untag you in that picture. Don't do it. Learn to accept what you look like in every situation. You do not need to look perfect in pictures. Even if you don't think you look good in a picture a friend has posted, the people who are going to see the pictures know you and know what you look like. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Challenge the idea that thin people are happier. Again, there's always different sides. We talked about that a lot today. Find a supportive squad to keep you positive.
Amen.
I think that's so valuable. And there's times where I've literally walked into Ash and been like, I feel gross. And she's like, what? And then like, we both just are like, girl, you're so pretty. I love your hair. I love you know what I mean? But sometimes you need that outside person.
Yeah.
And then again, if it is a serious thing, if you're struggling and it's getting to a point where it's deeply impacting your mental health, or there's eating disorders or anything that we've talked about today that's just too overwhelming, then definitely seek help, because that's what people are out there for, and you don't have to do this by yourself.
Yeah, I think all of us, all of you listeners, as well as Taryn and I, need to make a little pact to be the start of real.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think all of those steps that Taryn just read off are a great start to making it very clear, like this is what I look like. I am unashamed by it. This is how God made me. This is me, as the Greatest Showman would say. I was trying not to say it, but I'm just gonna jump right in. I started
singing. This is real. This is real. I'm exactly. What is that song?
I don't know. I was thinking Greatest Showman.
High School Musical.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Either way, I think little steps like posting a picture that's unedited and not untagging yourself are actually bigger steps than you'd think. And I think that's the start to unveiling this beautiful filter that we've all been putting over ourselves and making it very clear, like this is natural, this is real, and this is what real people look like.
Yep.
And if you start it, your kids or your friends or your family members will see, and it's a domino effect.
Dude, we gotta stop the cycle, because there is no way I'm going to raise my daughter or my son feeling this way. Like I have to stop it. Like I owe it to them. So it's like, I know that I need to get to a healthy place so that my daughter or my son doesn't grow up in a house where they hear me being like, oh, I look fat today. I'm not wearing this. I look fat. Because that's going to communicate to them that there is a difference. Like either I look good or I don't. And we've just got to stop. So those feelings are natural. Those thoughts are ingrained in our minds. So they're going to be present. But the thing is every day we have to wake up telling ourselves that we're beautiful, that we're worth it. And every time those thoughts come up, we go to battle and we do our best to like fight them and reach out to people when we can't do it on our own.
Mm-hmm. You is kind, you is smart, you is important,
you is special,
you is beautiful.
You is beautiful.
I think we ended that perfectly.
I do too.
That was a great quote also, by the way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, if you guys have messages and stories that you want to share with us, please email them to us. We have socials. Follow us there. We both have our individual socials. You can follow us there as well.
I'm trying to get to 100K because I want Legos to send me stuff.
The goal is for Lego to
sponsor
Taryn.
So I'm like, maybe if I get 100K, they'll be like, we have to. She's a big deal.
And she's well on her way. So go follow us there, chat with us there. We absolutely, Taryn and I just love talking with you guys.
Yeah.
So thank you guys so much for being vulnerable with us.
We love you all.
It means a lot.
And remember, if it ain't your body, it ain't your business. Okay?
Someone please make an edit now. Thank you.
It can be proper. You can say, if it isn't your body, it's not
all the sass.
Business.
More sass, the better.
The more sass, the better.
Cool.
So I live my life. We love you all so freaking much.
Bye.